Republicans are bringing up a rule for two bills that will be debated on the floor this week. I look forward to that debate. But I feel compelled to focus on this majority's screwed-up priorities, which now include handing a get-out-of-jail-free card to KKK members, Proud Boys, and other criminals who violently beat cops within an inch of their lives on January 6, 2021.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutations?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Okay.
Nice to see you again. So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly.
I mean, I thought this election was about lowering costs. What the hell happened? I thought it was about securing the border. I thought it was about making sure that our communities are safe. Not whatever the hell these pardons are. These pardons are sick. They are offensive. They are un-American. And I don't ever want to hear about law and order from your side again, Mr. Speaker, when your side is letting criminals back on the streets. Criminals who beat cops and tried to overthrow our government. 1,500 criminals, including over 600 who were charged with violently assaulting police officers. And I'm here to talk about that on the floor, because I think it's disgusting. I think it's a disgrace. The people Trump let out broke through windows, beat up cops, and desecrated this beautiful symbol of our country. A building, by the way, that terrorists tried to destroy on September 11, 2001. They couldn't get here because they were stopped by the courageous people on board Flight 93. But the crowd that Donald Trump sent here breached the building, and they attacked it in a way that had never been done. It was a horrible, awful thing, what happened that day. I was in this chamber. I was in this room. I was in your chair, Mr. Speaker. I took over for Speaker Pelosi when she was evacuated. I was one of the last people off the floor, and I exited through those doors. And I saw the faces of the rioters smashing windows to try to get at us. They wanted to kill people, kill police, kill us. And I saw the walls they covered with feces. I saw them use flagpoles to beat police officers. I saw the fear in the eyes of my Republican colleagues as they cowered that day. And I saw the bravery of law enforcement that protected us. Mr. Speaker, how the hell do you guys walk into this place every day? How do you look the police officers in the eye? How do you do it, knowing the people who tried to kill them will walk free thanks to Donald Trump? These were brave officers who tried to hold the line against a violent mob. And let me tell you, they were outnumbered and they were overwhelmed because Donald Trump refused to lift a finger to help. The people he sent were not peaceful protesters. They were criminals, violent, angry, vicious people. They beat cops into the ground, leaving them bruised and battered. And now Donald Trump let them out of jail. And now he calls them heroes. He wants to invite them to the White House. We even had colleagues here who went to a D.C. jail to celebrate their release and complain they weren't being let out fast enough. This is unbelievable. This is an insult to every police officer in this country. It is an insult to the families of the people who died because of what happened, and an insult to the millions of Americans who believe in law and order, democracy, and decency. Trump is abandoning the blue. He could have chosen to let out only the nonviolent offenders, but he let out people who beat the cops, and that tells you all that you need to know. And I think my Republican colleagues owe it to us during this debate, the first time we are debating on the floor since the pardons, to come down and explain themselves. They owe America an explanation, because the people I am talking to think those pardons are shameful and disgusting and wrong. And I'll wait for an answer, and I reserve my time.
Congressman reserves. The gentleman from Georgia is recognized. Well, Mr. Speaker, as you know, we're here to discuss H.R. 471 and S5, and I now yield 3 minutes to my colleague from Texas, Mr. Roy. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 3 minutes.
Appreciate my friend from Georgia. We are here to debate the rule that we've adopted. Will take up important legislation involving ensuring our forests are no longer such that they're going to catch fire, as we're seeing happening in California, and importantly to deal with the Lake and Riley Act. Now, this is a bill that we passed off the House floor last year. It was rejected by the Democrat-led Senate. They refused to move it. We moved it last week here in the House floor and sent it over to this Senate, now a Republican Senate, after the voters spoke. The Senate amended it, made it, I believe, better, sent it to the House, and now that amended bill is on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. Now, let's remember what we're talking about. And this bill is named after Lake and Riley. My friend from Georgia just discussed the facts involving the unfortunate death of Lake and Riley at the hands of someone here illegally, someone here who had committed crimes. I had as my guest this weekend at the inauguration a woman named Alexis Nungare, a wonderful woman from Houston, Texas, whose 13-year-old little girl was murdered by people released into our country last year by the Biden administration. Now, fortunately, those policies are ending under President Trump. But here's the truth. Never again should any American, any Texan, any Georgian have to deal with what was thrust upon them by the Biden administration in terms of the damage, despair, death, destruction, murders, rapes that were perpetrated against the people we represent. This legislation would take a giant step forward to ensure that we can stop any future administration who's not just refusing to enforce federal law, but is actually abusing federal law to endanger our people, our citizens that we represent.
The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I think it takes a lot of nerve to come down here and talk to us about law and order when the gentleman who just spoke was at a D.C. jail celebrating the release of people who attacked and beat cops here in this Capitol, who almost killed them. Some died as a result of their injuries. And I know my Republican friends don't want to defend these pardons because what the president did was indefensible. He couldn't release these people who attacked our police officers quick enough. He couldn't release them quick enough. You know, the Speaker of this House was asked about January 6th, about January 6th defendants like Daniel Rodriguez, who pled guilty to viciously injuring a police officer with a weapon. And the Speaker said, and I quote, "It is not my place. It is the president's sole decision. And he made a decision, so I stand with him on it." It's not your place? It's not your place? Mr. Speaker, it literally is your place. It is your place. Mr. Speaker, you preside over this House. You hire the sergeant at arms. You oversee the captain of the Capitol Police Force. If it isn't your place, then who the hell's place is it? I have a radical idea. How about you stand with the officers who were beaten and bloodied protecting you, rather than stand with a reality TV wannabe dictator? If your response to the question about the pardons of people who attacked and injured the officers that you oversee and are responsible for is, quote, "It's not my place," my question to you is this: who do you work for? Who do you think you work for President Trump? I would suggest you do some soul searching, and while you're at it, maybe reread the United States Constitution, because you don't work for Donald Trump. You are the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and it damn sure is your place to have an opinion on the people who beat the officers who protect you and this institution, having no consequences for beating men and women who protect this country. I reserve.